Christian, good morning. How's it going?
Good morning, Eric. Things are good. Things are good. Just in a new spot right now, trying to get out of the other, I guess you could call it a studio,
Yeah,
where my mother-in-law is sleeping in the room next door. So I don't feel like us bantering back and forth about PT is going to do her any good.
yeah. It's not the lullaby song you want to hear.
No,
No,
no. How are you?
no. Good. I'm doing well. A little tired this morning. Last night, my one of my brothers and I bought the new Call of Duty game, so we were we, we were
Is
up
that what you
for.
said? Hey, I'll be ready in 10 more minutes. You're freaking dragging ass this morning.
My alarm went off. I'm like, I don't want to get up. No, it was good though. We got slaughtered by a bunch of 12-year-olds, but it was
Easily. Yeah.
it was good. No, no, we
You
played for
still
a
got
couple
it?
hours and just not no, I don't. I think we probably played in total, like give or take, like 10 games, and maybe one or two out of those 10 games I actually did well. The other eight or nine, I was just getting my ass kicked.
Well, I mean, I told you I'm absolutely butt at Call of Duty,
Yeah.
but we were talking about that live stream thing. Perhaps that could be a thing we do is we just live stream playing Call of Duty, you taking me to school, but also taking our viewers to school
Right.
on physical therapy and coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it would give me an excuse as to why I'm so bad because I'm distracted about talking about, you know, physical therapy and coaching. But
Then we could have fun and work at the same time.
I like that idea. I like that. Well, I like the live stream idea regardless, but I think that's an even better idea. So, anyway, this is actually take two of our old podcast. Chris and I tried to film one earlier this week, and let's just say my internet connection where I was at was not the best, and so we decided to, can it until this morning, where we're going to discuss it, and hopefully, internet abiding allows us to fully record it. But today, see if I can repeat what I said last time. We're going to talk about not having enough time to train or do rehab because that's a very common thing we both hear in regards to uh, you know, not like I said, not have enough time to try and get to the gym or get the workouts done at home or go for a run, whatever it is. So anyway, this is technically a reaction video. And so Christian, you found this one. So I'll let you talk a little bit more about what the video speaks on, and then we'll get into, I guess, our reactions around what we think.
Yeah, I think the whole not having enough time to get your training in and do your PT stuff is it's just a really important topic to talk about and come to terms with because like there really shouldn't be any bad feelings going on here. None of us have enough time to do all the things that we want, and we have to prioritize. We have to make sacrifices. And we totally, as physical therapists and coaches, understand that you, as our patients, are just not going to do your exercises perfectly every time for whatever reason kids, sickness, laziness, great show. I don't know, but tons of reasons, and that's okay. So I thought this was a good video to pick because I'm going through that right now where my wife and I had our first kid. He is 3 weeks old. And dude, there's just like always something else I should be doing besides trying to do some exercise, train, whatever it is. And so I've had a hard time with that where I really haven't touched a weight in 3 weeks. I've been on a handful of runs and I went climbing twice. I actually went climbing yesterday and hurt my finger again. Like, dude, I get it. So I think that at this video talking about time, what you got to do is really important. And to be clear, we're not picking on anyone. We all go through this ourselves.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think I agree. I think it's a great video to discuss and topic to discuss. So I think there's just a lot of there's a lot of nuance behind it, right? I mean, one, there's a lot of nuance behind just like how much do we actually have to do? I think, and we'll get into this maybe a little bit more, but that's one, is like how much do we actually have to do? So I think there's kind of I don't think stigma is the right word, but this commonly held belief that I need to be doing my 10 exercises, you know, for 50 repetitions each every single day, twice a day, and um, that it's a whole lot. In reality, we don't have to be doing that much freaking volume and frequency all the time. Now, obviously, it's case by case. If you're some post-op surgical procedure, and we know that research shows doing frequent exercises at home for the first 2, 4, 6 weeks post-op are going to really help you recover, well, then yeah, maybe that's a different conversation. But in regards to like a non-operative rehab slash training, I feel like we don't need to be doing as much frequency and volume as what is kind of that commonly held belief. And we can get into that a little bit more. So there's that why I think it's a great topic to talk about. But also I think there's this, I don't know if meathead is the right word, but there's this very much like hardcore drive on social media now, calling out people for saying they don't have enough time, right? And kind of laying into them a little bit, which I think to a certain extent we do need a little bit of that attitude. But I also agree with what you opened up with, Christian, and that's things come up, life happens, whether it's kids, sickness, sporting events for your kids, or family things, whatever it is, right? Things come up. And that's where, I really want to dive into and discuss like how can we still make the most of things even when life is really busy. So,
Yeah, I think we should just start with the first point you made about how much do we have to do. If we just get this out of the way, I think a lot of things fall into place. So I agree with what you said, where if you have a pretty like substantial injury, like you're recovering from surgery, or you need a lot of frequency to keep things going, or you have more chronic issue where you really can't go very heavy, very intense, do a ton, but you can do little bits every single day.
hmm
That needs to happen for a lot of people, especially early on. So for me, for example, with my finger that I just tweaked, I tweaked a flexor tendon in my hand. My hand slipped off a climb, my finger jerked,
mm,
and so like that very sudden impulse of a load through my already injured finger just pissed it off. So because it's pretty flared up, like if I try to use it, it's like, dude, that's easily like 6 out of 10 pain already with barely any pressure. I can get away with doing very low intensity work for my finger a little bit every day. Like
mm,
I'm probably going to do isometric holds, 20 to 30 seconds, several rounds to pain tolerance. And because they're not very stressful, I can get away with that. But then as my training gets a lot better in the next 2 to 4 weeks, this is where I have to actually load the crap out of it and do some harder training with my finger. And that's where I might go to an every other day model.
hmm
Over time, our goal with your rehab exercises, is to do them less frequently, get you down to like 2 days a week, 3 days a week at most. And I really do think that that is a great long-term goal for everyone. If we can get you there over a handful of weeks to a couple months, your life's going to be a lot easier. Things just fall into place a lot better for you. So this idea that we have to do things every single day, you got to get your 3 sets of 10 to 20, like morning and night, or else you're not going to get any better. Like most of that, if you hear your PT say that, it's just because we're trying to get you to do something. And if we tell you to do it every
hmm
day and you end up getting it 4 or 5 days in the week, that's pretty damn good. And so we'd like to just make sure that we get a little bit of fear in you to get it done, especially early on, so we can learn more about you and your condition. But over time, that is not the ask. And so fitting it into your life gets easier.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. And usually in regards to talking about like home program stuff and also training, I think this applies to both. But I like to talk with clients and patients about, let's look at don't just look at yesterday. Don't look at the last 5 days. This is a journey that we're going on, right? This is months, years, and like we're trying to make a new kind of lifestyle habitual change. And so if we just focus on like, oh, the last week I really slipped up and I only did, one workout or two workouts or something, I missed two or I missed three, like that's going to happen. In the grand scheme of things, like we want to be thinking about like when we look back in the last month, how was our, adherence to the program or to the rehab? What was our volume like in the last month compared to the month before? Thinking in these bigger time frames and obviously tackling it day by day. When you think of if you try and make a goal and you look at this giant time frame, it can be overwhelming. So breaking up into day by day to take in these smaller pieces is always good. But I like to tell patients, like if or clients too, like if you miss a day or if you have a bad week, it's like, hey, you know what? We got we got months to go. Right? We're not stopping today. So, we're not it's not like, oh, I missed the 2 workouts last week. I've, totally failed the program. It's like, no, we got a lot more workouts to get through. So I like to think in like bigger time frames or like in terms of like larger goals. And so rather than just obsessing over like, oh, I missed that day, or like even sometimes people will be like, yeah, I worked out, but like I just had a really busy day, so I only got 20 out of the 40 minutes in, or I only got like 3 out of the 6 exercises in. Sometimes people will take that as like, man, I really failed that workout because I only got 3 out of 6 exercises. Um, when I think we could really flip those situations and say like, hey, we had a crazy ass day, right? We had so much stuff going on. Work is stressful as hell, but you know what? We still got in the gym and put up 20 minutes worth of exercise. Like that's a win, you know? So I think you can flip it and make it more of a positive thing. And I think we need to flip it. And I think we need to be a little bit more, celebrating the fact that like, hey, you know what? It wasn't pretty, it wasn't perfect, but we got in and we at least we got 3 exercises.
Yeah, and like that's always tough too, is what does this person need? Do they need the David Goggins approach where you just like call them
Yeah,
out, call them a little bitch and just make them do stuff? Uh, which I think there are people that works really well for. I have a client right
I
now.
think yeah,
I've had him for years. He loves that stuff. He loves just like being made to feel inferior in that way because just like it just gets his juices going. He's like, oh no, I got this. I can do it. And he'll rally and he'll train some more and he's really good. And overall, he's very consistent. But that approach is not going to work for everyone. You can't just keep going to the well for more willpower. It eventually dries up. And so that's why you got to have truth around what is actually needed for you to get better, whether it's rehab or it's strength and conditioning, and then make a schedule, get that damn thing into an actual plan, and you got to stick to it. That's a whole different conversation. But
yeah.
for just my comment on the strength and conditioning side of things, Eric and I are used to training for years. We trained probably 4 or 5 days a week. When I say train, I mean like they were hour to 90-minute sessions, very hard strength training at 7 to 9 RPE consistently. At
I
this
miss
point in my
being an
life,
undergrad,
well, this was me like my first job, where I worked in a gym.
or
That was
even
great.
yeah,
Yeah,
had
but
so
now
much
it's
more
like,
free time.
dude, well, yeah, now I have a commute. I have a commute to work. I work 10-hour days, and I have a freaking baby. So those days are harder to get, and now I have to shift my focus on my training to be like, all right, what do I have to do to still reach my goals and train in a way that I think is fun for my own progress, my own injury prevention, my own professional development. And it really has to be like 3 days a week. You can get away with two. You definitely can do 2 days a week of strength training and actually get somewhere. And not just strength, but also hypertrophy training. So getting bigger muscles. If you train your muscles to failure 2 days a week for like 1 to 2 exercises each of those days, you're going to get results. If you train them
Hmm.
3 or 4 or 5 times, you're probably going to get a little bit more. But really, like 2 to 4 is probably that sweet spot. And that same thing for strength. But hitting 3 days total body on each of those days is like what I think is a really great sweet spot for me and most of my clients. And I think everyone can get 3 days in. And when I say 3 days, I mean like 30 to 60 minutes. You can easily get a handful of compound movements done in 30 minutes. I think pushing the hour is better if you have the time. But that's really all it takes to get stronger. You can get your back squat higher, training it 2 days a week. You can get your deadlift higher, training it 1 day a week. It's just the rate of progression is going to be a bit slower, but it will go up. And in fact, some people, if you've been training these movements many more days per week, you might stand to benefit from training them fewer days a week. Give your body a bit of a break, change that stimulus, maybe go a bit higher intensity, and you'll be amazed at the progress you'll get by just shifting that focus temporarily.
Yes, agreed. I think I didn't do the math on this, but the video that we watched that prompted this conversation, the guy on there said that 3 workouts a week for an hour each is 3% of your total time which again, haven't done the math on it to make sure that's right, but it sounds right. So yeah, 3% of your total time, give or take. It's really just like you said, Christian. I think a lot of it is just scheduling it out, right? Prioritizing it. Because whether it's, and I wanted to get into this as well, which this will bring into it, but it all sounds great when you wake up in the morning and you go, I'm going to work. And then next thing you know, you get home and it's 7 p.m. and you haven't eaten anything in 8 hours. And you're like, ooh, dinner in that couch looks pretty good right now. So, I mean, that takes some willpower to do, but all the power to you if you got that in you. But I also think that prioritizing things, like the more important things, like earlier in the day, for example, like getting that workout in before you have to go to work, right? Some people work really early hours, totally get that. And so, like, if we need to, getting up a little bit earlier, but then what this brings me to my next point is sleep. Getting into a good routine sleep schedule. Dude, I could be way better about my sleep schedule.
The guy
You
playing
could
COD
be
last
better
night.
about your sleep schedule. We have messed up sleep schedules for two different reasons. I'm playing COD till 1 in the morning. You have a new kid. You have a new baby.
I'm still playing video games when I can. Don't get me wrong.
But anyways, no, my point is, if we can really not just make a schedule, but just prioritize things. So for example, like shoot for that 7 to 8 hours of sleep, seven at a minimum. And you look at, okay, when can I wind down and go to bed? When do I have to wake up to get a workout in before my day gets started, right? And the other thing too, if we're just doing this 3 times a week, it's not every day you're doing it. It's just 3 times a week we're doing it. And so, which brings me to my last point is the weekends, right? When you have that time off around the weekends, that for me personally is where I've really tried to prioritize the workouts and all that stuff. Because it's like, all right, I know I got a day of, a couple days stretch here where I can make sure I get that hour workout in. So if like the week is super busy, you know what? I can get at least 2 to 3 1 hour workouts over the weekend. And um, so yeah, so that'd be my big things is look at prioritizing the sleep schedule so that we can get up at a good time, still get the 7 hours of sleep in, but then get that workout in before the day starts because we know how difficult it can be after the day is done. And then also just making use of those weekends and really kind of strategizing around that free time that you have. I got some other thoughts, but I don't want to keep going on and on, Christian. I get what you think on that.
No, that really gets to the crux of the issue is like, okay, cool. You have time on the weekend, do it then. You have time before work, make it a point, do it then. Great. That's all really easy to say, hard to do. That's where behavior change is really important in changing your habits. But something I want to bring attention to that I really liked about this video and that I personally grapple with every single day is distraction. It's distraction.
Yeah.
Sean did a really good job of just like making the freaking app icons for whatever was it, Netflix and YouTube and Instagram, whatever, floating by on the screen saying you have the time, you just choose to spend it on other things. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
100%. Eric, you had time last night to do whatever else. You could have been working on the business. You played COD. I
Played
could
COD
have
and
gotten
had
up
some beers.
earlier this morning. I could have done that, got a workout in before this, but I didn't. And now I have to get ready to go to work after this. So, like, these are very real things. I, too, get into the depths of YouTube and whatever. And I'm playing
Mm-hmm.
video games right now too when I'm up late because I can't really leave his side to go lift. But just we have to understand that yeah, we are all making poor choices with our time. Being on YouTube longer, playing this video game, whatever it might be, is not making me better. It's not making me a better person. It's not making me stronger. It's not making me healthier. It's just wasting my time and it's distracting me and making me feel better about the time that I'm wasting, not improving myself. And I'm not saying that you need to feel like you should be improving yourself all the time. It's just that give yourself 3 hours in a week to improve yourself at the very least. Do those 3 workouts And I promise you, you will feel much better about yourself in the time that you're killing on Netflix or on YouTube. And this is not just me talking to you all, this is me talking to myself and having to grapple with the same stuff, especially now with this new point in my life.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's very well said. Distractions can be a huge thing. And, kind of like the same with what we do in regards to how we talk about like nutrition, right? The whole moderation and everything kind of approach. And so 90% of the time we're shooting for that healthy diet and trying to meet our goals. And then 10% of the time, if you have a cheat meal or something, or, you sneak some sugary drinks in or snacks in, whatever it is, like, like that's okay. That's only 10% of the time. Moderation and everything, even moderation. Um, and I almost have that same outlook as well when it comes to like how productive I'm being, right? Like, I know that if I'm trying to do, um, trying to hit the mark every time, 100% of the time in regards to like every free minute I have, I'm trying to work on this or be better at that, etc. And then eventually, I know that I'm just going to get like slowly burnt out and then things crash, right? And I think the same thing can be said too with the workouts, right? Or the rehab, etc. And that's like, let's just try like 90% of the time. We don't have to be perfect, but if we can set out a schedule for 3 days a week, whatever, 4 days a week, whatever it is, and if we can hit that schedule 90% of the time, and I think you're going to be sitting pretty well in regards to, your activity goals or your rehab process. And so I think I think that everything in moderation can be applied to even this as well. But I wanted to shift gears just for a second. And like the last thing I want to talk about was ways that we can fit in these activities without feeling like, because I feel like a lot of times people think I have to get, I got to get my pre-workout in me. I got to go to the gym. I got to have the headphones on. I got to get the heart rate up to this. I got to get to that, you know, 75% heart rate max, whatever it is. If I don't get up there, then it's not considered a workout for me. We have this preconceived notion that, working out is like it's, if I don't have steps 1 through 5 done, and then it wasn't a workout, right? Or it wasn't a good workout. And in reality, there's so many other things that we can do that one don't require a gym, things that we can do to just stay active, right? And so some of the things that I wrote down, and I'm wondering if you have any other things to add to the list, Christian. But number one is just going to be body weight movements at home, right? I mean, I dare you to do 30 minutes somewhat continuous of just body weight stuff. Lunges, squats, push-ups, sit-ups, planks, fake like you're jumping rope in place, whatever it is. Do that pretty continuously for like 30 minutes and just see how it feels. What do you have to lose? You do it for 30 minutes and it was pointless. Well, now you know, just 30 minutes. But I bet you feel like, hey, I actually got my heart rate up pretty good there. I bet you feel pretty good after that in regards to just some body weighted movements. Another one would just be yoga, right? YouTube is amazing. You can look up things on YouTube for a quick, 30-minute flow for some yoga and do some 30 minutes of yoga in the morning. It's kind of tough where we're at right now for Christian and I being in the northern latitudes, but getting outside and doing a walk or a run, right? I mean, we could even argue right now, we have here in Minnesota, we got a foot of snow on the ground. I mean, throw on your snow stuff and go trudge through the snow for 30 minutes. That's going to be probably even harder than just a regular walk. Um, and so, as you can see, when we get creative with it, if it's yoga, body weight, being outside, just you can buy some pretty inexpensive bands or weights or whatever it is, right? When you get pretty creative with it, you can get a pretty good exercise or workout for cheap, efficiently. and not have to feel like you need to go to a gym or do some elaborate thing. With that being said, I'm speaking to the majority of people that might not be super active right now, right? For someone who's been an experienced gym goer for the last 5 years, some of these things I just mentioned might be a little, what, underprescribed in regards to like volume and intensity, right? It might not do too much for you just because your body has adapted to stronger stimulus. But for a lot of people that just have to get up and get moving, I think these are great ideas. To just like I said, take the first step of just getting up and getting moving.
That's a good pitch for Foundations by Flexed Mettle, which will be one of our new educational pieces we're going to be giving out to folks, which will have easy to understand metaphors and information around 5 key pillars. It's going to be strength, endurance, nutrition, sleep, and pain, as well as some sample programming to help people get started. And the sample programming is going to be largely home-based or simple gym-based. And so this will be a really good way for people to get exposed to that kind of stuff. But the thing I wanted to add on to what you're saying, Eric, is pretty much the exact opposite, where in my experience, if that method doesn't work for people because they just can't get out of their own way, they need a change of environment, they just have too many distractors at home, you name it. That's where I really, really like paying. Pay a gym, pay a personal trainer, pay a strength coach, pay your local boot camp class place or the yoga studio. Go there, have the time carved out in your week, do it 2 or 3 times a week. Sometimes you have to attach a consequence to the thing for you to actually do the thing. And so
Yeah.
changing your environment, having that consequence, a financial expense, can be the perfect motivator to get you going, which will then build the habit. And who cares if you like have the right clothes or you freaking have the right, I don't know, headphones and whatever, dude, it doesn't matter. Like the 80-20 rule applies here. Just show up. You just showing up and doing anything, whether it's the squats to a chair in your house or it's going to the gym, Planet Fitness, meeting with the 18-year-old personal trainer who just got their cert last week off the internet, like they're still going to get you better than you have been in a long time, just by making you do stuff. Whether it's perfect, doesn't matter. Over time, as you build the habit and you get more comfortable with training, or you're getting back into the lifestyle training, having been removed from it for a while, which is kind of myself, you will find that those feelings of, oh, this feels really good, I want to do this more, come back. And that's when you can begin to get spicier with it and pay for specific programming or go to a different gym or find that new trainer that you actually really want to work with.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um, no, it's well said. I think that is a good devil's advocate to what I threw out there. And yeah, I mean, it works for some people one way, for another, paying someone and being able to get out and having that consequence, like you said, or just really taking out any of the, like, a lot of that pre-workout effort, right? Like, all you gotta do is just show up and someone's gonna have everything ready for you, and rather than having to put in the mental work of figuring out what you want to do and how you want to do it and all that other stuff. And so I think at the end of the day, the kind of take home message is that number one, we don't have to be, you know, we don't have to be perfect every time. We don't have to hit the mark every time during the week. We don't have to be the most motivated person ever to get everything done, right? But like you said, Christian, it's showing up in whatever way that is, whether it's showing up to the class, showing up to your home workouts, showing up to your run, whatever it is. Majority of it is just getting there and showing up. And then you can do the thing. I think that's number one. I think number two is there's many different ways that you can stay active, many different ways to get the heart rate up, right? At the end of the day, the heart or the cardiovascular system doesn't care if you are in, doing zone 3 cardio on some special treadmill at some special gym, or if you're trudging through the snow in the woods for 20 minutes, right? All the heart knows is that it needs to expel more blood with more oxygen to perfuse things like your muscles better so that you can continue to do whatever job that you're doing, right? And so I think there's a lot of variety in how we get things done, and it doesn't have to be one specific way. Now, if you want it to be one specific way because that motivates you more, you like that more, absolutely go for it, right? And then, 3, I think, is just plugging what we're going to be coming out with soon here, Christian, which is our foundations program, right? Like you said, those 5 different pillars: strength, endurance, pain education, sleep, and nutrition, along with the different program handouts. Having a good comprehension of just what it takes in totality to continue to live a healthy lifestyle, right? Or we talk about living a resilient lifestyle. And, it really does take multiple aspects of life to do that. But one of the big ones is just the activity, right? We have to be moving, we have to be doing stuff, getting the heart rate up, stressing the muscles, etc. And I think that a great thing about the foundations program that we're going to come out with is that knowledge is power. I mean, if you just, at least if you can understand a little bit of each of those pillars, it makes such a big difference in regards to how you look at training, how you look at lifestyle, how you look at habits, etc. Because you can actually understand some of it versus just, why are you eating this? Why are you doing that? Why are you going to bed at that time? It's like, well, someone told me to do it, so I do it, right? Versus having a decent understanding for yourself. So, anyways, going back to the video, I thought it was a great video. I really like the 3 workouts a week, 1 hour each, 3% of your total time. It doesn't matter how we can get to it, just as long as we can get to it and get it done. I think it's a really powerful message there. And kind of like we talked about, it doesn't have to be always perfect.
Yeah, and this is where I think a great conversation to have over time is going to be something about behavior change. Not saying that we're behavior experts, but one thing I think that everyone should be familiar with is going to be the simple book, Atomic Habits. Reading that book, or at least reading the first handful of chapters, is really, really helpful to understand, okay, this is a psychology of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it. This is how I change it. These are very actionable steps, the 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. If you do those 4 steps, you are going to have far more success at changing your behaviors and getting these workouts in. And so doing that is incredibly powerful. And then finding the right program that's going to fit into your life. And that's where we will hopefully be able to help you out whenever you are ready.
Heck yeah. All right, man. Sounds good. Well, looking forward to getting that program out there, getting it to the people, and we'll keep pumping out the podcast on different topics. So, all right, Christian. Thanks for a good podcast again. Enjoy work today, man. Enjoy
Thanks,
work
man.
today.
Enjoy COD today.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. New zombie maps. So we're gonna play some zombies later.
Oh yeah, let's go.
All right. Thanks everyone for listening. Christian, I'll talk to you later.